Okay. My face is probably like just like so red.
Spatial is an application that can work across mixed reality. There's augmented reality components. You can jump in via the browser or your VR headset, but essentially it puts you into like a fully simulated shared space environment. And you get to interact with other colleagues in their avatars. It's just a really neat way to sort of showcase the future of work and what's possible right now. I started working at Mashable only a few months prior to the start of the pandemic. So because of that, I really never had a chance to meet a lot of my colleagues. I immediately thought to myself, like, wouldn't this be a great way for me to like, I don't know, meet my colleagues and like do the work with them? Can we maybe work for a month solely in virtual reality? Okay.
Okay, I'm going in.
I'd only worked with Alex for a few months before the pandemic hit, and then I'd never met Joseph in person. So I was excited to actually be able to see them, even if it's, not their actual selves. Anything was better than a computer screen at that point.
I hope I'm joining the right room.
When we first started our meetings in Spatial, I was very fearful. I was worried that Brenda and Alex were going to think, who is this kook? Why is he making us do this? This is such an unnecessary part of our workflow. And then I worried it would also be distracting.
I found a baseball bat.
There's an option in your dashboard called Stuff. It's just this huge library of objects you can pick from. While we were just chatting and discussing things for work, Alex would be just arranging all these objects and playing with them. And I never took that as a sign of, oh, he's not paying attention. I took that as a sign of he's actually really engaged and present. And I know even for Brenda, she had wanted so badly to play around with all the objects to help her focus, but she was worried it would be rude. So she actually would just focus on Alex's behavior, and it sort of grounded all of us in a way. And it added levity.
Hold on, I found a pizza.
What?
The biggest learning curve was just mainly getting used to the controllers in general, because I'm somebody that never used the Quest 2. After one or two tries, it sort of just becomes, instinctual. You just figure out what to do.
How do I scroll? Oh.
I found it pretty natural to acclimate just to that stuff. I figured out how to make it do what I wanted it to do pretty quickly. It's not some VR quote unquote experience about riding a roller coaster, shooting aliens or whatever. It's meant to replicate the experience of sitting in a room with your coworkers.
Okay.
Yeah, like what would you want us to? Yeah, what do you want us to say? I'm sorry, what did you say, Alex?
Nothing. Don't worry about it. Sorry, I was thinking out loud.
The advantage that I thought this had over something like, Zoom or Google Meet was that if I want to address someone, I can turn and look at them. And then that I thought was one of the more transformative things about it compared to the other ways we've been doing this stuff for the past year.
Meeting in VR means that you don't have to be camera ready. So I didn't have to do my hair or my makeup or even worry about what I looked like. I didn't realize I had that issue of like worrying about that until the pandemic happened and we all had to chat on, video. But with Spatial, I didn't have to build in that time to look ready and presentable.
Occasionally, every now and then while we were talking, I would just close my eyes for 10 or 15 seconds. Just like, I'm sitting back, I'm listening, I've got my eyes closed. And you can't do that when you're talking to someone in real life because it's very rude. But in VR, they can't tell. And that's great. The issue I've always had with VR is an issue I still have with VR after doing this is that I just don't like being forced into a situation where I am not aware of what's happening immediately around me because I'm wearing this headset that's encompassing all of my senses are being occupied by this thing.
I'm stuck. I'm literally stuck. Oh my god, I must just hit the coffee that's on my desk. Whoopsies.
The other thing about the headset specifically, until it is something that is as easy to wear as like my glasses, I don't think that it would be something that would appeal to a lot of people.
Whatever the future of home VR is, or home AR or whatever, needs to be thinner and lighter. It needs to be something that doesn't remove you from your physical surroundings like it does now.
I would do it maybe like once every couple of weeks for certain things. Like maybe if I wanted to have like a really goofy get together bonding meeting, yes, I think it would be helpful.
Even in the best circumstances, it's just not the same as sitting in your chair in front of your laptop.
I personally took for granted the connectivity of things like, Google Calendar and that integrated into Slack. And then whenever you have a meeting, you get the pop-up and you just click the link and you're already in your meeting. I think until we're able to do that with VR, the process of putting on the headset, logging in, and then clicking on the app and then finding the room, it's just a process.
The promise of it was much more tantalizing than the reality of what it turned out to be. But I think in general, mostly what Spatial served to do for the three of us was facilitate conversations. It helped me bond with the both of them. It allowed us to talk about things you wouldn't talk about in a meeting. And as a result, we were able to sometimes get pieces out of it that wouldn't have been suggested or even discussed in the first place.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. We're good. And it's Friday.